In September 1886, the Texas frontier burned under a crimson sunrise, vast and unforgiving like the Badlands that swallowed men's dreams whole. Harlan Whitaker stirred in his bunk, only to feel the cold bite of a knife against his throat. At 58, after 15 years of isolation on his remote ranch, the ex-Union cavalryman had grown used to silence broken only by the lowing of his cattle and the whisper of wind through mesquite trees. He'd come here, seeking oblivion after the war's horrors. But oblivion had found him in the form of 3 Comanche women-fear survivors, not fragile flowers standing over him in the dim light of his cabin. Their deerskin outfits were ragged from days on the run, rifles gripped in hands toughened by a life of resistance. The oldest, Ilera, around 26, pressed the blade harder, her side oozing blood from a fresh gunshot. They'd slipped in like shadows, binding his wrists with rawhide thongs before he could blink. These weren't amateurs. They were warriors for a people pushed to the brink by encroaching settlers and endless raids. Ilera's English was clipped, laced with the defiance of a nation fighting extinction. "Help us, or die right here," she growled. Harlan didn't panic. Men who'd survived Shiloh didn't waste breath on pleas. He sized her up, high cheekbones like chiseled flint, sweat glistening despite the chill, and that wounded was bad, festering already. 1 more hour, maybe 2, and she'd be gone. The youngest, Leora, barely 20, with pouches of herbs dangling from her belt, leaned in closer, her eyes widening at the spreading stain on Ilera's shirt. "Sis, that's not sweat," she murmured in their tongue, panic edging her voice. The third, Mira, stone-faced and cradling a repeater rifle like an old friend, snarled, "We should have ended him while he slept." But Leora, the healer schooled in ancient remedies hidden from white eyes, shook her head. "He might have what we need. Real medicine." Harlan felt the power tilt. "You're right about that wound," he said evenly. "I've got morphine tools from my army days, but you'll have to cut me loose first." Ilera barked a bitter laugh. "Trust a white rancher? One who's probably traded beef to the forts that slaughter us." Harlan met her gaze. "Or trust a man so done with the world he doesn't give a damn about your fight or mine." Truth was, Harlan had buried enough ghosts his wife's fever-ravaged body, his boy's final scrawl for Virginia, before the Rebs cut him down. Mercy wasn't his habit, but neither was watching death claim another without a fight. Myra's rifle jabbed his temple. "We take what we want." Harlan didn't flinch. "Sure, and your leader bleeds out while you fumble through my shelves, mistaking liniment for laudanum. Your call." Leora's hands trembled not from fear, but the agony of watching kin fade. In a snap decision that sealed their fates, she whispered, "Cut him free." Ilera protested weakly, but the ropes fell. They hauled her to the kitchen table, Harlan's instruments glinting under lantern glow. Scalpel, forceps, needle, and thread. Leora assisted, her deerskin dress hugging a figure honed by the plains, black hair cascading like midnight rivers. As she leaned in, Harlan caught a whiff of juniper and wild earth scents that stirred something long dormant in his chest. Their fingers brushed, passing a cloth, lingering a second too long. Her skin was warm, smooth as polished agate. Eyes locked, and in that instant, a spark ignite draw hunger, not just physical, but a pull toward wholeness in another's soul. Wrong place, wrong time, Harlan thought, but the heart doesn't heed borders. "Hold steady," he rasped, voice gruffer than planned. The bullet was deep near her shoulder, infection brewing. As he probed, Leora anticipated every move, handing tools before he asked. "You've healed before," he noted. "Our warriors," she replied softly, melody in her words. "Your kind kills them." "Some of mine," Harlan corrected. "Not all." The slug popped free with a sickening suck. Ilera bit back a scream, tough as weathered oak. "Why alone?" Leora asked, threading a needle. Harlan paused. "Lost my family to cholera," son to the war. Some folks ain't built for crowds. Her gaze softened. And some ain't built for reservations. Their eyes met again, lips parting, pupils wide. She was young enough to be his kin, but the heat between them screamed otherwise. This could unravel everything: trust, survival, the fragile alliance forming amid blood and lamplight. A gunshot shattered the night, then another. Mira burst in. Troopers. Half a mile, closing fast. Alara bolted upright, bandages seeping. How many? 15, with scouts our own blood tracking us. Harlan's mind raced. These women had hit a supply train near the Brazos River, killing a soldier in the fray. This patrol meant business. Root cellar under the floor by the stove, he said. Hides 3 easily. And you? Leora demanded. Harlan wiped blood, stacking plates to hide traces. I'm just a peaceful rancher who sleeps like the dead. Alara eyed him. They'll grill you. I've lied to bluecoats longer than you've breathed. Hooves thundered closer as Leora squeezed his arm. Urgent. Why risk it? Harlan looked at her fierce, alive in ways he'd forgotten. Because sometimes you gotta pick who you are. Lieutenant Harlan knew Captain Reeves from the old days back when they chased Rebs through Tennessee mud. Reeves dismounted, sun-leathered face cracking a grin. Whitaker, you old dog. When do you last see another soul? Harlan lit his pipe casually. Below, 3 hearts pounded in the dark. Long enough to like it that way. Reeves scanned. Hunting Comanche, renegades, 3 women, armed to the teeth. Raided a wagon near Fort Griffin, plugged a private good. Harlan puffed smoke. 3 gals? Don't sound like much. Don't underestimate. 1 snipe from 300 yards, that's Myra's mark. Harlan filed it. Tracks. Blood spore. Wounded ones desperate for aid. Reeves' eyes roved the cabin. Mind if we poke around? Not a request. As soldiers tore through, Harlan stood firm, mind flashing to Gettysburg, a dying Johnny Reb, 15, begging for water. Harlan had given it, held him till the end. Choices like that haunt. Got something. A trooper waved a bloody scrap of deerskin Alaris. Tension coiled like a rattler. Reeves inspected. Fresh. Comanche stitch. Harlan's pulse hammered, but his voice stayed flat. Tore that off a sick coyote yesterday. Shot it by the trough, figured the pelt for mending. Reeves probed his face for cracks. Found none. Harlan, if you're shielding. Cap, if I had hostiles, I'd be hightailing to Mexico. Reeves chuckled. Point taken. They rummaged another hour, found zilch, then rode off into the haze. Harlan pried the floorboard. Alara emerged, eyes holding grudging respect. Leora's were warmer, laced with unspoken fire. What? Alara pressed. Harlan shrugged. Some things beat hiding. Mira checked her gun. They'll circle back. Alara agreed. We bolt at dusk. Can you guide me to the Rio Grande? It meant ditching his ranch, his herd, his self-imposed exile. Stepping into chaos, connection danger. He glanced at Leora, firelight dancing on her strength. I know paths. They ghosted out under a star-smeared sky, for riders threading moonlit canyons. Harlan led via game trails, evading patrols. Supplies on a pack horse for the hard push south. Alara rode, tall despite pain. Mira scouted, rifle ready. Leora flanked Harlan, thighs brushing on shying mounts. Back to solitude? She asked at a water stop. His life felt hollow now, mirage-thin. There are free Comanche in the Sierra Madre, she hinted, welcoming a man of honor. And you? Were my kin call. It was no answer, just an invitation. At the Rio, Alara gripped his hand Comanche style. Brother now, not foe. Mira nodded rare approval. Leora lingered, pressing a pouch of sage and hope into his palm. For empty nights. Their kiss burned like prairie fire, sweet, sorrowful promise. She pulled back. North or south, choose life. Harlan watched them ford into Mexico, then wheeled his horse south. Toward the mountains, a new tribe, a healer's side. No more ghosts, just living, fierce and full. In the end, Courage mends what war breaks, turning strangers to kin. What do you think? Would you risk everything for strangers or play it safe? Share your take in the comments below. Stand your ground and let me know your views on trust, betrayal, and second chances in a divided world.